want to take you back out live to Wauwatosa near 103rd and Courtland, where a plane has crashed in this neighborhood. These are just the first pictures we're getting into our newsroom right now. Our photojournalist Jeff Frings just arrived on scene. Jeff, obviously a lot of emergency personnel there. What are you seeing from your vantage point?
Yeah, just beyond the fire chief in the white helmet there is the remains of that plane. You can see the kind of maroon tail of the plane. I'm going to try and get a better look at it here. You can see it there behind the fire chief with the white helmet there. That's kind of the crumpled part of the front of the plane with the wings. It is, like you said, just south of the airport, 2 blocks south of Timmerman Airport. A lot of police and fire on scene. We talked to a neighbor who said she heard the plane all flying all day, and then all of a sudden just heard it stop. She heard it, then she didn't hear it, then she heard a thud. From what I can tell, it appears to be Cessna 152 from the tail number. It looks like it's a Cessna 152 that is used in flight training from Timmerman quite a bit. I haven't been able to tell 100% for sure that that's the tail number, but I'm fairly certain that that's the one because I've flown in that plane numerous times back when I was learning to fly, and it's not uncommon for one of those planes, they have a fleet of them, to be flying around the airport pretty repeatedly, making takeoffs and landings and practicing.
Hey Jeff, can you talk about the neighborhood? I've been in this neighborhood before. This would be just south of Hampton. The airport and the runway would just be just north of that, but this is right in the middle of a neighborhood. We're seeing all sorts of homes there. From your vantage point, have you seen any destruction on the ground, any houses or buildings get hit here? And we'll try and bring up the picture we do have that shows a better shot of this plane. It just looks like it's sitting in the backyard of one of these homes.
Yeah, I could see like a little bit of like a scrape on the roof of the house that in the yard that it's in. But as you said, like I'm just going to kind of point right here, that's Hampton. The airport is just 2 blocks beyond. So this is the house and the yard that it's in, and there's a little bit of a scrape on the back of what looks like a little bit of a scrape on the back of the roof of the garage. But I haven't seen any other damage other than the damage to the plane. Yeah,
this is the picture that we were talking about. We're showing our viewers right now that tweet of the plane just sitting in the backyard of this home. It almost looks like there's a second floor balcony on that home that maybe the railing post is a little damaged. Obviously we're seeing a fire truck out there, Jeff, but from your vantage point, you're not seeing any smoke or any flames or any sort of, fire hazard out there, are you?
No, and that was the thing that the neighbor told us specifically, that she didn't see any smoke or any fire. She said she did see someone get pulled from the plane and they were alive at the time, but she said that there was no smoke and no fire. There's really more police out here than fire. There's only this one fire, one engine and like a command car. There were a couple of ambulances here when I first arrived, maybe 15-20 minutes ago. And now they had a hose in back, probably just to make sure there's no spark or anything like that. But they were wrapping that up a little bit ago, so I'm not sure what the status of the investigation is, but I'm sure it will be a while before they get the federal officials in to investigate the cause of the crash.
We're talking with photojournalist Jeff Frings on the scene of a plane crash. This is in Wauwatosa, right over the Milwaukee border, just south of Timmerman Airport. Jeff, I want to ask you, because you do know a bit about aviation and you've been in these small Cessnas before. As far as airplanes go, they are a very light aircraft. If it is the aircraft that you think it is, there's a reason they put students in that. They can go at a very slow speed and, usually can stay up in the air at a good clip, but that might be a reason we're not seeing a ball of flame here just from the size of the aircraft you're seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely a small plane. It's a light plane. It's a 2-seater. It's used in basic flight training a lot. If it is the plane that we think it is, the 4978 Bravo, the tail number, the 152, Cessna 152 is used in a lot of flight training because it's very safe. It's very forgiving to fly. That being said, you can make mistakes that can cause accidents, and I'm not saying that's what happened here, but the most common accident in a trainer, or one of the more common accidents I should say in a trainer, is near the airport. if you make the wrong move with some of the controls, you can cause a spin. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but that is something that can happen near the airport. We're very near the airport here, where what happens is the students and the instructor will take off and they'll fly what's called the pattern. They'll make like a half circle around the airport and come back and land on the same runway they took off on. They'll also do what's called touch and goes, where they'll land and then take off without stopping. And so they do this repeatedly just to get practice taking off and landing. And taking off and landing is usually one of the more perilous times in the flight when things can go wrong. And those things that can go wrong can cause, results that end up in crashes potentially.
Without a doubt. Photojournalist Jeff Frings, we appreciate your insight on this. Just to take our viewers back, to sum up, this is at 103rd and Courtland in Wauwatosa. A small plane has crashed right in this neighborhood. It's kind of lodged in the backyard of a home. From our vantage point, it doesn't seem as though any buildings were severely damaged, maybe a scrape or two, but nothing severe. No fire in the area that we can tell from this point. We have heard from neighbors that one person was taken from the plane. We haven't confirmed that with authorities, but that's what we've been told from those on the ground. We, of course, are keeping our eye on this situation very closely. Jeff, we appreciate your insight. We will get back to you as soon as we can and as soon as it warrants.